My name is John Wilson, and I'm going to make a video on Charlie Kirk and Tyler Robinson, and just show why I think that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk with a different gun. I'm going to try to show that in this video, and I'm going to start here with Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. He puts out a lot of good footage as far as videos and stuff where you can see Tyler Robinson walking and driving his car on videos and timelines where he's at. But all you have to do is just look up Gray Hughes Investigates, and you can see all the work he's done. He's done probably the best work I've seen on YouTube. But anyway, I'm going to start the video right here. I'm going to go through about 3 different videos of his just to show different stuff. But right here is the building that has the camera, and it's about right here if you can see on my mouse. And it sees down the public walkway that leads over to the Loesch Center. And it's the only building that's higher than the Loesch Center, because all the buildings down below that, going down toward Charlie, is down in the valley. So there's no roofs higher than the Loesch Center where Tyler Robinson, where Tyler Robinson is. Only this building, and it's the only camera. And I'll show you how I think that he was able to pull a magic trick that day. But anyway, I'm gonna show you what I think he done that day. And starting right here, I'm gonna go ahead and start the video. Okay, Gray Hughes is walking up. Right here's where Tyler Robinson shot. After he shot Charlie Kirk, he come off right here, off the roof. And you can see it right there, that long public walkway that leads from that building with the camera on it over to the Loesch Center. And Gray's walking toward the door that goes in. And you can see that long railing up here over the top of this public walkway. This railing has to be at least 42 inches tall, because in residential, your railing has to be 36 inches, and in commercial, it's normally 42 inches or higher, but it's at least 42 inches. Here he is walking through the Loesch Center, and when you go out these back doors, you'll see the steps that's leading up on the rooftop. He's fixing to walk up these steps. Look just how easy it was. Look just how easy it was to get on this roof. One man on this roof that day, on September the 10th, would have saved Charlie Kirk's life if they would just had one man watching this roof. He's coming up the steps. You can see the brown looking the public walkway. This 6-foot chain link fence that you see right here was put up after Charlie Kirk was shot to keep people out of this area. But I'm going to show you the corner that Tyler Robinson jumps over and puts his rifle together. And they're telling us that he had a Mauser 98 30-06, which he did, but I don't think he brought it on this roof. But I'm going to show you the corner right here where he crouched down behind and put his rifle together. Right here. You can see this corner right here. He goes over, like I said, this chain link fence won't here. He goes over this railing at 1217, and he gets in this corner. And if you look up the probable cause documents, just look up Tyler Robinson probable cause documents, and it's public. It tells us that he comes up the steps and comes onto the public walkway at 12:15. He jumps over this wall at 12:17. I believe that when he comes up, he looks over to the Losi Center and he doesn't see no man on this roof manning this roof. So he probably just stays right here on the public walkway for 2 minutes, just looking around, making sure everything's clear. Once he sees it's clear, looks back down the public walkway toward the building with the camera, and then he looks back toward the steps probably, just making sure everything's clear. Then he jumps over this wall. And the probable cause documents says that he goes out of the camera's view for a short time. And the reason why he's laying down behind this wall, that camera cannot see through this wall what he's doing. And then at 12:22, it says he comes back into the camera's view. At this point, he runs across the roof, lays down on the west side where he can see Charlie Kirk at. And he has a clear line of sight to Charlie Kirk. He could see all of Charlie Kirk under that tent from head to down to the table. He could see all of Charlie Kirk. So he had a wide open shot. But you can see right here, he would have came up and run out. And you can, right over here is the west side on the corner. You can see where Gray's going with it. And that's where he goes and lays down at. At 12:23, he takes the shot. He runs around that room up on top here, goes down on this corner, and jumps off. But that's where he put his gun together at. Now I'm going to move the video up and show you where he was coming off the roof. We'll try to catch it so you can see where the gun is. Okay, you can see him right here. Here he is running on the roof, and he's going to run to the northeast corner. And I'm going to try to stop it so that you can see his gun. He's keeping everything, he's making sure that he's keeping that gun hid at all times. When he comes to the Losi Center that day, he never lets the gun be seen. Coming on the UVU campus, it's never seen coming up on the roof. And I bet you when he comes up out of that corner at 12:22, he's got the towel on that gun. He never lets that gun be seen for the reason is it's not a Mauser 98 30-06. But here he comes running down the roof right here. And I'm going to try to stop it to where you can see the gun. Okay, I'm back it up just a little bit. Well, no, I'll get it. Okay, right there. You can see, looks like to me the barrel is facing toward his leg, and the butt end of the gun, the stock, is right here with the towel drooping out over it. And again, he is making sure that that gun's never exposed. But it looks like to me it's a shorter gun because the Mauser 30-06 is at least 43 inches or longer. So this does not look like a 43-inch gun. It looks like a shorter gun. And but this is where he's coming off the roof. You'll see him step down on this windowsill right here. And I believe that Tyler Robinson, you know, they put this out about 2 weeks before that Charlie Kirk would be at UVU, like 2 weeks ahead. I think Tyler Robinson went there probably a week and a half before that. He probably walked all over UVU. He knew that Charlie Kirk was going to be in the venue area, and it would only make sense to put Charlie where they set up at, right through that breezeway so that he could keep the crowd above him. And if anything happens, it would be easy to get Charlie out of there. And at the same time, Tyler Robinson picks this building, the Loesche Center, which is close to the highway, easy way to get away. You know, he could escape and get to the woods. But I believe, like I said, he come here and he really checked the grounds out, UVU, the neighborhood behind, and he probably even flew a drone that day whenever he came, and just made sure that he knew the layout, and that he had it all planned when he came here that day, exactly what he was going to do. But here he is getting off the roof, and you'll see him step down on the windowsill, holding on to the roof. If he hadn't had something to hold on to, coming over that edge, he would have likely just fell all the way to the ground. There's no way he could have held on to just like a slick edge roof, you know, and come down and put a foot here. But anyway, I'm going to go to another video and show you him coming through the tunnelway. Okay, you can see right there. Let me get. Let's see if I. Okay, here he is coming up to the tunnel, and you can see him real clear here. I don't see no gun going down his pants or coming up his shirt. And the stock on a Mauser 98, it would have to show somewhere. And then he would have to have the barrel action with the scope down the other side. But I don't see no sign of a gun. And I'll show you when he comes up the steps leading up to the parking deck. Okay, here he is coming up the steps. And you could see how sharp his right leg is turning. There's no way that he has anything going below the knee, because he couldn't bend his right leg that much. And you'll also see his left leg. Let me see if I can find it where it shows his left leg. Okay, right there. You can see how much his knee bends, his leg bends right here, and how tight his jeans is on his leg. That there's no way there's a gun running down this leg. And now I'm gonna show you the back side of him, his the backpack. Okay, look right here. Gray seems to think that he has the gun barrel running down the back of his leg. I don't see how he can believe that, because it couldn't run below his knee. He couldn't even bend that leg at all. It would be like a splint on his leg. I mean, you've seen how sharp he bent that right leg. But look right here in his backpack. Look how full it is. If he had a gun down his pants, he wouldn't hardly have much in this backpack. He would have a towel, a screwdriver, pair of shorts, the maroon shirt, maybe the bolt action for the rifle, if he had this Mauser 98 with him down his pants, and of course the bullets that he had. But look how full this backpack is. I think that he has a gun in this backpack. I don't think it's the Mauser 98 30-06. I believe it's maybe like a AR-15. They make a AR-15 that actually breaks in half. It folds in half, and you can just open it back up, and it has a lever, a way to lock it, and then like in 5 seconds you have a gun ready to shoot. But after you shoot, you can just release the lever and fold the gun in half, and it would easily go in his backpack. And that's what I believe. He has the maybe an AR-15 rifle in this backpack. I believe he definitely has the towel, the screwdriver, the shorts, and the maroon shirt, and the bullets. But anyway, I'm gonna go a little further and see what else I see here. Here again is the public walkway coming from the builder with a 360-degree camera. Here's the corner that he lays in, or crouches down behind that wall. And then he runs over here, lays down and shoots Charlie Kirk, which is up here at the top of the screen, right in this area. And like I said, he has a perfect line of sight. But anyway, let me go forward. Right here's where he comes off the roof again. Let me see if there's anything else. Here's where somebody came up right here. These guys with their, one guy seen him running across the rooftop. By the time he got his phone out and started recording, Tyler Robinson had done laid down, you can see right here. And he was trying to tell the other guys that I seen him running across from this direction. And he said, "What's he doing? Is Charlie on stage already?" And then he takes his phone off this guy. If he would have kept it on him, we would have seen him videoing it when the gun went off. But he shot just seconds after this video on that guy's phone. Here he is walking after he come off the rooftop. And look how he's taking the gun and making it stick to his left leg, keeping the gun in step with his walk so that no one can see it. Also, he has this hill here blocking him on this side, but he's putting it on the left side now so no cars or anybody in the parking lot that comes through can see that gun. See how he's keeping it in step with his leg? And then once he gets to the road here, he goes across the road and once he crosses over the road, it's a steep hill that goes down. And even the cars going down the road at that point won't be able to see him once he goes over that hill. But Tyler Robinson just makes sure that day that that gun is never seen, going to the campus or coming back. Okay, now I'm going to show you another video, Google Earth. Give me just a minute. Okay, let me get up to where I want to get to here. Okay, right here. Tyler Robinson is seen at 8:23 at this house right here on video at 8:23 in the morning. That's the first time he is seen on September the 10th at 8:23, exactly 4 hours before he shoots Charlie Kirk. But he's seen right here coming up this road, and this house, their video camera shows him driving by at 8:23. Okay, then at 8:29, UVU surveillance sees him coming up on the campus at 8:29, just 6 minutes later. He leaves this area, goes back, and it says that he is seen coming up on a gray Dodge Challenger, and he has on shorts and a maroon shirt. But anyway, basically an hour and a half later, he's seen walking right up here again. This time, instead of driving by, he's actually walking by with shorts, a maroon shirt, and a blue backpack. He has two different backpacks that day. But here he has a blue backpack on. And Gray calls it a dry run. He's walking with no, basically, I guess he's saying that because he has no gun at this time. It's 9:57 in the morning. But he has a blue backpack on, and you can tell there's not hardly, if you go and look at Gray's other videos, he'll show you all this, but you can see there's not a whole lot in that blue backpack. I think he probably has something to drink, maybe some snacks. He probably even has a book in it. But anyway, he's just walking around, coming around this way, if you can see where my mouse is going, and coming out to 800 South. But when he goes to shoot Charlie Kirk later, he never comes this way anymore. He is only seen driving by at 8:23 and walking this way at 9:57. And this is what makes me think that he has a different gun. Why does he even come in this area to begin with if he's never going to come back this way to go shoot Charlie Kirk? Because this camera here, it doesn't see him again after 9:57. It sees him twice at 8:23 and at 9:57, but it never sees him again. And there's some reason he's coming through this area. I think that he planted the gun here earlier in the morning, maybe daybreak or before. He could have come down this road, killed his lights, and got out and come down and put that gun in these woods. Could have been before daylight. And he already had his gun in the woods. And then later in the morning, that's why he's driving around and walking around, making sure nobody has picked up that he's put a gun in these woods. And there's no cops or anything. Nobody's picked up on what he did earlier. And he's just checking on that as he walks back around, headed to the campus. But let me see if I can move it up a little bit. You can see where Gray's showing he's coming around. He comes on 800 South. Then he comes and turns down here on 800 West. And there's two cameras right here that picks him up at 10:08. So he's up here at 9:57. He walks around. He gets to this point 11 minutes later, 10:08. And then he goes on the campus. He's probably on the campus by 10:20. I think when he went there at 8:30 in the morning, maybe they hadn't started setting Charlie up for the day, so he goes back again. And say he gets there at 10:20. They should be setting Charlie up for the day because it's, say, 10:20 and he's going to be there at 12. He probably walks, I'm thinking he probably even walks on the public walkway right above where they set Charlie's tent at. And he's seen the tent being where it's at, and he, like I said, he probably figured that's where it was going to be anyway. That would be the perfect place to put Charlie up, set him up for the day. It would be a quick way to get Charlie in and an easy way to get him out if anything goes down. But he probably looked and seen that he had a clear line of sight back to the Losi Center rooftop. And once he seen everything that he was going to have a clear shot, he probably left and walked back to his car. And Gray believes that when he was seen walking here at 9:57 in the morning, that he actually parked his car, if you can see my mouse in this area, because Gray has actually went here and walked this. And he said this would be a perfect place to park his car. The way the layout is with fences and the way the houses is in this area, he wouldn't likely be seen parked here. So then he gets picked up at 9:57 here, of course. But when he leaves the campus at 10, after he goes at say 10:20, he comes back. He never goes back around this way again because this camera never picks up on him after 9:57. So maybe he comes on up 800 South and comes here to his car, and then he drives it down this road. And Gray believes that he parked it right in here because there's another good area where, if you just seen the layout, go back and look at Gray's videos, he would likely not be seen changing his clothes right here. He could open the door on the passenger side and not likely to be picked up by a camera on anybody's house. But then at this point, I think he changes into the black backpack. After he changes his clothes, he gets the black backpack out that's already pre-packed with the gun and everything in it, the towel, the screwdriver, and the bullets. But anyway, he takes his shorts and his shirt when he changes and puts that in that backpack, in the black backpack. And there's a reason why he's taking those shorts. If he had planned on taking the gun out of the woods after he shot Charlie Kirk, there would be no need for his shorts and shirt because he would have just took it apart in the woods and put it back down in his clothing and would have came out of the woods the same way that he went up on the Loesche Center roof and would have went back to his car. So that's why I don't believe that he planned on taking that gun with him to begin with. He already had staged it in these woods. Okay. But anyway, if you think about it, he'd been on this campus 3 times that day. At 8:30 in the morning, say 10:20, walking around. Comes back at 12:02, coming up on the north end of the Loesche Center here. And goes in the building in the Loesche Center. So he's been on the campus 3 times a day with nothing but a cap and sunglasses. And he had to know that he was going to get, somebody was going, after he shot Charlie Kirk, he had to know that they were going to get surveillance on UVU. And somewhere he would have had to show his face on 3 different trips that day on this campus. And then when it made it to the news that somebody was going to easily be able to pick him out, and to show you they did, his own mama and daddy seen him. And if they hadn't seen it, his friends or classmates or something would have seen it. And he had to know that they were going to know who shot Charlie Kirk. They were going to put it together and figure out that it was him. So if he would have actually took that 30-06 on that roof that day and shot Charlie Kirk and went and put it right across the road, because this 360-degree camera right in this area on this building would see everything. He would have had to been a fool to go and leave that gun in these woods after shooting Charlie Kirk. But like I said, I think he already put that gun there, and that he after he put it in here, he had planned to come shoot him with a different gun. But anyway, let's see. I'm gonna move it on up. You see where Gray's drawing it again. But right here, you can see everything clear. There's the Loesche Center. Here's where Charlie Kirk was at. It runs across the roof. To be a straight A student, I just don't think that he would be that crazy to take that gun and go up on this roof, shoot Charlie Kirk, like I said, and just put it in these woods. And I think that explains why he was taking this area twice that day, so that he could keep eye on both sides of these woods to make sure that 30-06 was still in place, and that after he shot Charlie Kirk, that he would be able to go to the woods and change guns. Here's what I think he done. He went to the woods with a backpack on, with the rifle that he had, that he shot Charlie Kirk with. I think he goes out here, he breaks the gun down that he just shot Charlie Kirk with, he puts it in his backpack, he takes the towel, wraps it on the 30-06 that he already had in the woods, And he's going to tell him that when he got to the woods, he couldn't find his screwdriver. So he had no choice but to leave the gun behind. But it proved that he wasn't going to leave the gun behind to start with. He would have never brought the shorts and the maroon shirt. He had planned to leave that gun behind. Okay. I think what he's going to tell him is the day before, on September the 9th, he's going to say back home he took his gun somewhere and went out and shot it a few rounds to make sure that he had the gun zeroed in. And once he seen that he had the gun zeroed in, he broke the gun down with the 2 screws that it takes to take the Mauser apart. He put it in his backpack and he picked the shells up and threw them in his backpack. And that's where he messed up. He shouldn't have thrown those shells in with his live rounds. And I think he's going to tell him that when he went in this corner, on that public walkway, when jumped over in that corner, I think he's going to tell him that he was in a big hurry trying to get his gun together, that he grabbed a shell out, and when he did, he accidentally pulled an empty cartridge out and put it in his gun, and he run over and laid down, and when he took a shot, nothing happened. When he squeezed the trigger, nothing happened. And as he started to reach for the bolt action to eject the empty shell to put a live round in it, he's going to say he heard another gun go off. And he just jumped up and run. And that's going to be his way out of this. And when they get the autopsy back, which they already have, but when we find out what it is, if it comes back that it was a different bullet, that it wasn't a .30-06 bullet that come out of Charlie Kirk's body, then that's going to be Tyler Robinson's way to get out of it. He's going to say, I didn't shoot Charlie Kirk. I had a Mauser 98 .30-06. And when he got behind that wall that day, like I said, that camera, it lost view of him for 5 minutes. I believe he was putting a different gun together. But he just used that gun, left it in the woods, left the screwdriver on the roof, left his towel. He left everything. So that's going to be his way out. They're going to say, okay, we have your DNA on the roof, on the screwdriver, the fingerprints, on the gun, on the trigger. We have everything. He's going to say, yeah, I was on that roof. I went up to kill Charlie Kirk. Of course you got my fingerprints and DNA. You've got everything. But I didn't shoot Charlie Kirk. And y'all can see the bullet didn't come from my gun. It's not a .30-06 bullet. So at that point, they ain't gonna know. They're gonna probably think, well, he probably changed guns and done what I believe he done, but they ain't gonna be able to prove it without the gun. I think that he's gonna, once he left after he shot Charlie Kirk, he is seen in a shopping area at 1244. I believe he's not seen again till 6:38 at Dairy Queen. I believe in that 6 hours, he may have went 20, 30, 40 miles away and threw the gun away, the AR-15 or whatever he shot him with. He may have threw that in a river or something and got rid of that gun. And he's going to stick to his story that he had a .30-06 Mauser 98. And if you look at all the texts and stuff where he's talking back to Lance Twiggs, he keeps saying that if I could just get back to those woods and get my gun, I would be left no evidence. And my daddy is going to be so mad at me for leaving my grandpa's gun. How am I going to explain this to him? I think he's saying all that in the text so that he just makes them think, that just reassures that he had a .30-06 that day. He's just trying to throw them away from the real gun that he shot Charlie Kirk with. And I believe that gun, only God knows where it's at, and Tyler Robinson. But I believe that's what he done. I believe that's why he was walking this road so much that day. If you can see, it runs parallel with a College Campus Road. It's just a thin area from these two roads. And that's the only reason I can figure he was walking and driving by this area. Why would he be here when he's not going to come back here anymore, he's going to take a whole different route to go kill Charlie Kirk. So, like I said, he would have to be an idiot to leave everything behind, his gun, the towel, the screwdriver, and just leave the gun behind. And I know he says that he was going to come back later and get the gun. But if that was the case, as soon as he got back to his car, he should have drove back down here and went on back in them woods and got his gun quick. Instead of driving away, he should have known if he waited longer later on that the cops would have everything. There would be police everywhere, closing the area off. He had no intentions of getting that gun. He wanted them to find that gun. He wanted them to find his screwdriver, his towel, his gun, everything. That way it proves that that's what he had, because he knew there was no way that he could get out of it. I mean, he couldn't say he ain't go on the rooftop. They're going to have surveillance of him. And all he's got's a cap, sunglasses on. I mean, they know who he is. He knows they're going to figure out who he is. 3 different trips on the campus that day. They're going to find out who he is, and he knows that. But anyway, that's going to be his way out. And let me see if there's anything else I want to say. But I just don't think he went up on that roof with a 30-06. He may have. He could have been just that crazy. Or it could be one of the conspiracy theories that's out, like Charlie Kirk's team, security team killed him, or Israel is behind this. It's all kind of theories out there. Man up on another roof behind a bush. What else? Somebody standing out in the crowd with a palm gun. Exploding mic. There's all kind of theories. But anyway, it's either going to be an inside job at the end but I really believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I think that day that's what he just hated Charlie Kirk because Charlie was against the way he lived. That him and Vance Twiggs, the life they lived, and that he hated him, and probably he was dealing with his parents also, because I believe Tyler Robinson was raised in a good family, and they was just against. He just probably, that's all he heard from his parents, and then, he knew it was going outside the way he was raised, and he knew it was wrong. But anyway, here's the way I believe on September the 10th, the way I like to look at it, the devil was laying on the west side of this roof looking down at Charlie Kirk. And the devil was trying to stop him because he knows the days is getting short. So while he was looking at his scope looking down at Charlie, I think that, Jesus said when he comes back, he's going to come back in the eastern skies, and he's coming back, and it's going to be like in a blink of an eye. So I think that Charlie Kirk was looking toward the eastern skies. In a split second, he was with Jesus. But that's just something I thought about. Charlie Kirk's looking toward the east. But anyway, I do believe this is the way it went down that day. I believe that Tyler Robinson did kill Charlie Kirk, but it was with a different gun, and he staged it all to have a way out at the end. But anyway, that's all I've got. I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Thanks for watching.